I just thought I'd hang out here all day.
Right. Hello, everyone. Like to call the Agriculture Committee meeting to order. Today is Thursday, August 21st. It is 11:04 a.m. And could you call the roll to establish quorum?
Alan?
Present.
Leonard?
Leonard here.
Genesis? I see he's online.
I'm online.
Thank you.
That's a-
Sanchez, he's gone. Williams?
Williams present remote.
Roth?
Roth here.
Juby?
Juby here. I have remote attendance from Williams and Pennises. Do I have any objections to letting them come in? Okay, thank you. I would like to entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from July 17th.
Alan asks for unanimous consent minutes.
Wonderful.
Excellent minutes.
Any
Very
opposed? No?
detailed.
No
difficult. A lot of
changes. Okay,
Minutes
alrighty then.
of our last month,
Okay,
July 17th, 2025.
all right. Do we have any public comments? No? Okay, I would like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda to bring item 8, new business. No, I'm sorry, to bring the presentation under 7A up till now, and then following that with the 2 resolutions under new business that go with the conservation easement program, which would put Mr. Arnold back a little bit. So do I have a motion to do that?
Roth will make the motion.
Leonard will second, although I think if you have a consensus, you can do that with the
Okay, well,
agenda.
we can do it with unanimous consensus. If that
Yes,
would be fine.
I would request a unanimous
Great,
consent.
wonderful. Okay, then we're going to do that. So Sarah, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I apologize to everyone, but I do have to leave early, so.
Gonna wait for the presentation to go up. Yes, that one's the one. Thank you, Blair. All right, good morning, Ag Committee. I'm really excited to be here because we are going to be presenting something a little different this time around. But before I get started, I did want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to Catherine McKenna. She's our GIS specialist, and she actually on the side does photography. So all these photos that you see up there are from King County. So on today's agenda, you're typically used to seeing farms coming into the program, whether you would approve them or not in the protection program. This time we are going to be seeing something a little different. We will be amending some of the agricultural easements that are currently in the program as the new generation is coming in. The original owner was motivated and it was a lot more restrictive back then, but as we continue to evolve, we definitely want to make sure that our farms are in good standing, as well as making our farmers happy for the next generation. So we do have 2 farms. We have the Evans Farm, which is in Big Rock Township, and the Peterson Farm. They both have similar requests, with Peterson Farm just having an additional step outside of Ag Committee. So the first agenda item that we have is the Evans Farm. As mentioned, it is located in the Big Rock Township. The parcel was among the earliest enrolled under the program, with the easement that was fully funded by the county, meaning this is only locally funded. No federal funds are tied to this farm. The original landowner he did actually assist in the foundational role in establishing the county's program. And upon his passing in 2023, it transitioned to his daughter, Carol O'Brien. As you will note, this you could see that this is a retired pin. So meaning that they actually have already gone through the process of splitting and subdividing this parcel. It does have a unique layout with the split by Big Rock Creek, and it creates two distinct zones of agriculture use, one area being rotational crop and the other one being used for pasture land, which at this time it supports seasonal livestock grazing. Because of this, the current owner has been having a challenge finding a single buyer interested in operating both land uses. So they did actually already go through the Plat Act split to subdivide, and normally they would have to put it back together because it is against the conservation easement deed, but we really want to look at this as through a lens as if they are applying and requesting for approval. Again, I just want to emphasize that this is locally funded. This is the first time that the Ag Committee has heard of amending easements. However, last year, there were a couple of other applicants who did want to amend their easements, but they had federally money tied to it. And the federal is very restrictive and it does not allow subdivision, mainly due to staffing is what it is. So Ms. Carol O'Brien does have two potential buyers ready to purchase these two pieces of land. They both are local farmers. So what we're looking from you today is approving an amendment to the deed of the agriculture conservation easement deed for the Evans through the Farmland Protection Program. This resolution will authorize the county board to approve an amendment of the deed, allowing for the subdivision in accordance with the statement of purpose and the requirements of the ordinance of 01-67. Questions?
Mr. Arnold?
I don't know if I'm permitted to ask a question.
Go ahead.
But my question, looking at the division, is I'm not familiar with Big Rock Creek in that area, but in most areas, Big Rock Creek is not crossable. Will this require two access points, and how does I assume that's a township road, Big Rock Township. Is the township prepared to offer access?
Yes, so on here it is Scott, and you can barely see that there's a road going through, that's Shaw Road. So we have contacted township and they would request where that Shaw Road continues, that's where their access would go.
Would they allow two access points? Because it appears that what's east, that it would need access points for either side of the creek.
Yes, because it would be two different ownerships.
Correct one. You know, you can't cross the creek, so how do you get to the east side of the property?
Right,
if
the parcel that ends in 1-2 itself would need two access points.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not sure that we've actually gone that far. They are going through our Monday staff meeting, the potential buyer for the township to
I
actually.
mean, the other alternative would be build a small bridge over.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the lay of that land, but Big Rock Creek generally is not crossable.
It's not a small creek is what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
That's a great point.
I am assuming that the potential buyer is aware that he's buying a landlocked parcel that has limited access.
He is now, thanks.
But there may be, one part of the year where there's no rain, maybe he can go across once a year.
So you're gonna look at that. Okay, and Ms. Allen had a question really quick, and then Mr. Leonard.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was wondering. Oh, for the reason for the subdivision. Is the person buying the creek a conservationist who wants to protect the creek? Otherwise, why wouldn't the property be left as one? I'm looking for a reason.
Yeah, so there are two potential buyers. One will continue with the cropland and they are aware of the conservation easement deed terms, meaning it has to stay in ag. And the other potential buyer is wanting to continue the livestock with the pasture land. So both of these will stay as is currently.
Any more? Ms. Allen? Follow, okay. Mr. Leonard?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With respect to the parcel ending in number 1-2 with the creek in it, could we approve this amendment pending 2 access points?
Um,
In other words, why approve the amendment if they don't have the access points they're going to need to use the land properly?
so I think our purpose here, if I'm not mistaken, is to authorize the fact that they're going to be amending a conservation agreement, not about who it gets sold to or what the conditions of that sale are. Is that correct? We're just allowing them to break up a piece of property that they had said was going to stay in as a farm. And we're saying that we'll allow you to do that as long as the properties, the 2 individual properties then will stay in that. So one will stay as cropland and one will stay as pasture. I don't know that we have the authority to put any type of condition on it because it's already sits in a conservation program.
That's the only thing we're voting on
The only
because
thing we're voting on is allowing
Right.
us to basically transfer the conservation from the original owner to the 2 new owners. We're not changing access or
and we can't guess what the future owner will want to do.
they
I mean,
have to leave it in farmland.
Yeah,
It's in
right.
the conservation.
other than that,
program.
but we can't, maybe there's other things.
Right. So
Maybe he's getting waterproof cattle. I don't know.
So I don't know that that's in our purview to do that. I think all we're doing is we're authorizing the current owner to sell, I guess it's correct, she's selling it with the property.
Yeah, it is just to subdivide so that she can sell these 2 pieces of property respectively.
Separately.
Yes, I do want to additionally add that the entire parcel ending in 1-2 does have a roadway frontage. So to answer your question, they would be able to access the other side of the creek through the frontage of the road. I'm not really up to date on if it would require 2 access points. I know that they need at least 1.
Is that okay? I mean, we're just authorizing the easement to continue and this wouldn't, if this had been done properly, they would have come to us first and we would have authorized it, but because they've already gone, we're just kind of.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And, that's a problem for the buyer and the seller to work out.
Exactly. Okay. Do we have any more questions on that? So I would like to entertain a motion to bring forth the what is our number? Do we have a TMP? Yeah, TMP 251014, approving an amendment to the deed of agricultural conservation easement for the Evans Farm through the King County Farmland Protection Program.
Roth will make the motion.
Second.
Leonard will second.
Okay, we have a roll call. Oh, any questions? I think we already did that, right? Okay.
Right.
Call the roll, please.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Genesis,
Genesis, yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Doobie.
Juby, aye. Okay, wonderful. Let's flip back and you have a presentation on the other firm?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So the second property that we have is the Larry Peterson Farm. This property was owned by the Peterson brothers. It does qualify as a centennial farm, so it's been reflecting over 100 years of continuous family ownership. It was, again, one of the first to apply for the Farmland Protection Program. So this is going to take a couple of steps. In 2002, when the King County approved the conservation easement, the Peterson did exclude 1.7 acres from the conservation easement. So anything on this map that is not yellow on those two parcels is outside of the conservation easement. They are proposing again to subdivide 5 acres, and as you can see, there is some of the conservation easement with this subdivision. However, they are aware that they are not allowed to build. Everything has to stay in ag within that restriction. But the nephew is wanting to relocate to live closer to the farming operation as he is the current operator. He would like to renovate one of those homes as soon as possible. So they are requesting to subdivide the 5 acre total. And then this would eventually would have to go to zoning to create 2 zoning lots, but that's out of here. So I don't want to add too much confusion.
So he's,
Questions on that?
question,
Yes.
Chair. So it'd be parcel 09 and 03 are the splits?
So there is no splits. The only thing that they're requesting is to subdivide that blue 5 acre parcel.
Which is where the
So Bill, basically what they're trying to do is they broke out the houses that are on
originally,
there,
it's not,
and
in-
they're looking to add to make that a 5 acre parcel. So there's more land that goes with the houses.
is, which one? The house on the left?
Anything in blue
Yep.
is what they're looking to break off. And then it's my understanding also that they are interested in potentially purchasing the entire
Correct. Yes. So this is,
entire thing at a later date.
Yep. this is step 1. They would like to see purchase the 5 acre so that they can start renovating that home and he can move in. And then in the future, he would buy the remainder of that conservation easement deed. He understands the terms as well. Again, there is a little bit of a conservation easement overlapped on the 5 acre parcel, but they are aware that they're not allowed to ever build.
So anything in yellow, he can't ever build.
Correct.
Right,
Within,
and-
within the blue.
Right. And then the intention is to
Eventually buy
have it
everything
all.
else.
Yes.
I don't see a problem with that.
Any more questions on this one? Did you have more on that or? Okay, so may I have a,
So make a motion.
well, let me ask
Oh.
first, just because you're sitting up there doesn't mean you get to.
I'm
just
trying to
do it.
help you out so you can leave.
All right, resolution TMP 25-1011, approving an amendment to the deed of agricultural conservation easement for the Peterson Farm through the King County Protection Program. Okay.
Mr. Roth will make a motion.
Second. Okay, Vicky, any questions? Okay, go ahead and call the roll.
Allen,
Alan, I.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Genesis,
Pettis, yes.
Williams,
Williams, yes.
Roth,
Roth, yes.
Doobie.
Juby, aye. Okay, thank you so much for doing that. All right, we can right our ship now and we're going back to hear from our partners. Mr. Arnold, would you like to give us our Farm Bureau update?
I'll give you a Farm Bureau update. I guess that is working. I'll try to be quick. First of all, and we will send you a formal notice of this, but our board met last week and reaffirmed Joe White as the King County Farm Bureau's representative on the Farmland Protection Commission. Real quick update on a number of other things. Our young farmers hosted a King County Fair pedal tractor pull that was a huge success and also participated in the National Night Out activities in Campton. Yesterday, we concluded a truckload peach sale. And I know that Mr. Peters makes some wonderful things from peaches. So there's a box of peaches sitting over here behind Mr. Roth. If anybody'd like to take a few peaches home with them
Nice.
tonight, they are excellent. We've also started hosting monthly meetings of the Fox Valley beekeepers. And I'm excited about that because that's kind of a new crowd for us for them to learn a little bit more about who we are and what we do. We also hosted lunch for the Soil Water Conservation District and Extension's Cover Crop Field Day a couple of weeks ago, and Alexis is here. That program was very well attended. Yesterday, we spent some time at Batavia Farmers Market and Garlic Breath Farm recording some video and getting some stills, and then we'll come back and do some interviews. We are going to use Tony and Sharon Persky of Garlic Breath Farms to as one of about 6 or 7 farm families around the state of Illinois to launch a new advertising campaign about the advantages that farmers have in being members of the Farm Bureau. We have chosen Saturday, November 22nd and the Elburn Lions Park to do a scholarship fundraiser, a drawdown at Lions Park, and they've got a lot of experience with doing that. Tonight, we do our 13th drive-through barbecue, also to support college scholarships. Next week, we start a pilot with the Peace Center, what's formerly known as the Juvenile Justice Center, to have some of those boys come out, and basically they're going to help us with maintaining the pollinator garden we have at the Kane County Farm Bureau and some of the rest of the landscape. The Peace Center called and was looking for work on farms, but unfortunately, if they're only bringing 2 or 3 young men out for a couple hours once a month, it's pretty hard to line up farm work. So we've also referred them to, there are a number of stables in the county, and stables need a consistent labor supply day after day after day. So I don't know if they've followed through on any of that. The King County 4-H Blue Ribbon Sale was held at the conclusion of the King County Fair. It was their best ever. Fewest number of animals, most money raised. They raised $206,000 for 4-Hers. Our not-for-profit foundation also auctioned off a lamp from the collection of memorabilia of the late Scott Horton of St. Charles. And this was a lamp made out of the crankshaft of a
It's pretty cool.
1947 John Deere A. We raffled it off, or we auctioned it 3 times and we raised $4,500 auctioning off that heavy as a boat anchor lamp. And then in regards to, was it the Evans property? Was that the name on the first property that you talked to? We had Jonathan Kepke from INCAP come in and talk to our board of directors last month about wetlands mitigation banking. He also wrote a small feature for our King County Farmer publication in August. And it's an interesting concept given the fact that most public wetlands mitigation banks sell out almost from the minute that they're announced. So he is looking for properties. I think he's actively looking for properties, given the type of businesses he's in, that he could do some on a private basis. And the Evans property looks like a great place to do wetlands mitigation banking, especially that pasture portion of it. And then the last thing I'll report, we did do some social media posting lately to try to promote the Urban Master Farmer Program. And again, Alexis is here. I don't know whether that was successful in getting enough people to register, or if the extension is looking at a different type of offering for the fall and winter of 2025-26. So, but that concludes my report.
Thank you. Can you shed some light for us?
Yeah, so this year I only had about 10 applications for the Urban Farmer Training course, which is rather low. But I'm finding that I work a lot with our fruit and vegetable farmers. A lot of those groups, they have off-farm jobs, so they work full-time during the day. A lot of them have kids, that's their free labor. And then they're tending to the farm, you know, in the evening. So it can be really difficult for them to attend those trainings that we offer. So something I'm looking more at is just offering a lot of them want new market opportunities or just really help with marketing. So I'm trying to work on some short opportunities for them that they could attend. And I'm also looking at a hobby farm course. Those courses go over really, really well in other counties. And we do have a lot of people in King County that have, you know, between 1 to 5 acres, and they're tired of it being grass and mowing it. So we're looking at some other opportunities for them, because I'm getting a lot of calls about orchard production as well as market gardens and using that to donate. So while these aren't farmers, these are people still looking to produce local food for their community. So I'm trying to do that this winter. I will be running the urban farmer training course this fall, but that may conclude with the grant. I know me and Matt are talking about that. So yeah.
If I can follow up on that real quickly, that's, I mentioned, the Batavia's Farmers Market and the Furskys at Garlic Breath Farm, and that's why we chose them, for a campaign about, the Farm Bureau and who it is and what it does, because, it's been about 10 years ago that they bought an acre and a half and they didn't have any idea what they were going to do with it. And I think that they're just a poster child for what can be done on a small acreage. So
Yeah, and I have worked with them, and I mean, they're great and have really ramped up within the last 10 years. And they did take the urban farmer training in 2022. So it did take about 6 years for them to kind of, you know, have that time to take the course. So yeah.
Any questions? No, thank you. Steve, do you have more or? Okay, wonderful. I do not believe that anyone is here from Northern Illinois Food Bank. Is there anybody online? No? Okay. All right. So maybe next month we'll have that, which brings us to Matt Tansley, our update for Growing for Cane program.
Good morning, everyone. I'll just give Blair a chance to bring up the slides.
Is it page 6?
Um,
oh, sorry.
Page 18.
18. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. No, that's it. Yeah. Great. So I wanted to just give a couple of updates on our Growing for Cane program. So the main project I wanted to share a few highlights on is the soil health impact assessment. You'll recall this is a project that we're working on with a consulting team that includes New Venture Advisors and the Delta Institute. And the focus of this project is to look at the relationship between adopting different types of soil health, on-farm soil health strategies, and seeing how that translates to business profitability and operational benefits for farms that are incorporating these strategies. And then at the end of this presentation, I wanted to share a few highlights from the drone seeding field day and cover crop workshop that Steve alluded to earlier. So we had our kickoff meeting for the soil health study on July 9th. So this was an opportunity for our team to get together and review the work plan that was put together by our consulting team. And we were able to develop a little bit more focus as to what the study group is going to consist of. So the study will include between 5 to 10 farmers that we're going to be testing their existing soil health conditions. So I believe at a previous presentation, I mentioned we're going to be using Cornell University's Soil Health Institute. They have a soil health testing service that is available for a fee. So we are looking to use that service to conduct soil health testing on a sampling of Kane County farms for this project. And so as far as the focus group, we are looking to focus on our commodity crop producers. This is really the most representative production type that we have in Kane County. Because there's really only I'd say like between 2,000 and 3,000 acres of specialty crop production in the county. And that's relative to, if I remember the census figures, there's about 140,000 acres of total production in the county. And most of that is commodity crops, so corn and soybean rotation. So those are going to constitute the population that we're going to be sampling for that soil health testing. And that would also apply for the deeper business analysis that New Venture Advisors is going to be doing. So we're looking to recruit 2 to 3 farms that would be willing to share their business financial information. And so with that, we'd be able to do some modeling to see how adjustments could benefit their business bottom line. And we also had a chance to talk about the outreach activities that we'll be conducting. So we'll be, we'll be putting out a request for information, but we'll be packaging this. We'll be messaging this as a benefit to farmers, because they're going to get very specific information about the soil health of their farm based on the testing results, and also some detailed business analysis based on New Venture Advisors modeling. But when it comes to any sort of public report that would come out of this, that information, any specific business information would be protected and maintain the anonymity of the farmers that are participating in this. So just want to make that clear. So this is the timeline for the project activities that we will be working through. Again, we did have a meeting on August 14th, and that was an opportunity to go through some of the data that would be collected. So we were able to share some of the internal data and information that we have. The Kane County Water Resources Department had conducted some water quality testing back in 2021 and 2022. And most of that was located in proximity to agricultural sites. So that's part of the data set that the consulting team will have at their disposal. And then once the full data set has been put together, we'll move into the business analysis and modeling. So that will be ongoing into early next year. And then there will also be a business case narrative that comes out. That'll be the last deliverable of this project, and that's planned to be ready sometime by the end of March. As far as the soil testing, the current planning is that we would look to do the outreach for this no later than October. And as we recruit farms that are willing to participate in this study, we would be conducting those soil tests and working with those that are willing to share their business information to support the modeling that New Venture Advisors will be conducting. And then, does anybody have any questions about this before I move on to the field day and the cover crop workshop? Yes, please.
I do. This is Alan. I can remember some years ago that we had a farmer who had, actually not a farmer, we had a businessman who had a few number of acres. And he reported to us that it was a continuing saga for him to figure out how to make his acres productive and what he could raise that he could sell. I think he zeroed in on some plantings that he could sell to like greenhouses and Michael's and Hobby Lobby, where people wanted, I think, things that smell good like eucalyptus and other things to stick in their own arrangements in their homes. But he also fooled around, I think, with, like some kinds of strawberries and raspberries and stuff like that. I'm just wondering, is this program one that would be helpful to the boutique farmer? Or are we trying to come up with healthier, safer ways for corn and soybean farmers to grow their?
Yes, that's a good question. So when in our discussions, we were initially considering including like a smaller group of specialty crop farmers. So that would include, fruits and vegetables. And, that also includes like flowers and decorative plantings as well. But we realized that one of the challenges is that if we were to select, we're looking to do up to 10 farm samplings. So if we set aside maybe 2 or 3 for specialty crop producers, that the challenge would be trying to find growers that represent like the full population of specialty crop growers, and that would be a significant challenge because there's just so much variety in the scales of production among specialty growers in the county, the types of product that they grow. So it would be hard to, like, for the sake of this study, it would be challenging to say that our sample group, such a limited sample group could broadly represent, specialty crop growers and their businesses and give them useful information that they could use to make decisions about their farm. So that's really why we wanted to focus on the commodity crop producers. I mean, not discounting the importance of specialty crop growers in Kane County and, the continued focus of growing for cane.
Sample would just be too small.
Correct, yes. And again, looking at the county as a whole, just knowing that, that commodity production represents the vast majority of the production area of agriculture in Kane County. So that really kind of guided our decision. So, great. Okay. All right. I'll move on to the recap of the drone field day and the cover crop workshop. So this was an event that was hosted, at the St. Charles Horticulture Research Center. And it was hosted by the Kane DuPage Soil and Water Conservation District, along with U of I Extension. And the primary focus of this event was to demonstrate how aerial drones can be used for agricultural seeding, as well as applying doing fertilizer applications. So it was just a really interesting look at how how drone technology is working its way into agricultural production. So the company is based out of the Peoria area, and so they had a demonstration of one of their smaller drones. So the one they had a capacity of up to 50 pounds. So that was the easiest drone to fit into their pickup truck and drive up for the demo. But it's really an interesting use of technology. So the representative was able to show how he could program a route within a tablet and basically just plugging in waypoints on a map, and the drone would just automatically just follow that path and go up and down the rows. And it could be programmed to, program to dispense at different volumes, at different speeds. And the spread area could be controlled based on the height of the drone. So there's a lot of functionality that goes into this. And the batteries are kind of interesting to look at. It looks like basically a cereal box, and with larger fields, they might have to swap out those batteries, 4 or 5 times to cover a field that's, up to 100 acres. So one of the advantages of using a drone over an airplane or a helicopter is that you have much more precise control over the dispersion of the seed or the fertilizer. So if there's an issue or if there's a concern with, chemical fertilizer drifting onto a neighboring property, it provides a much more precise application. And then the second part of the event was a workshop, and so this was hosted back at the Farm Bureau headquarters, and it featured a discussion by a couple of farmers who were able to share their experiences with cover cropping. And I just thought it was a very good discussion about how each farm is unique, and how one cover cropping program might work well for one farmer, but for another, it may not necessarily provide the same benefits. So I think it was good for for farmers in the audience to hear that and to see some real results based on what had been tried before. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Mr. Leonard.
Matt, with respect to the drone cropping, I find this very intriguing. I have a few concerns. With 50 to 100 pounds of seed or fertilizer that they're going to apply, how big of an area will that cover? A load of, say, 100 pounds of fertilizer or seed?
That's a good question. I know the demonstration area was, I think, between 1 and 2 acres, and he loaded the drone with about 10 pounds of seed, and it only went through a couple of pounds. So it really depends on like the density of the dispersion. So if you have, if you're planting cover crops at a lower density, then you could get more coverage with a particular load. I think an example that he gave was like 100 acres is kind of a common area, but that might include 1 or 2 reloadings of the seed.
That was what I was kind of thinking. With respect to this, and also, would this drone cropping be something where the farmer would buy the drones, or would a service come in and do that for them?
Yeah, so for this type of drone, it requires a significant amount of licensing and certification. So the state has requirements. So in this case, it would be something that you would have a company come in that has gone through the process of obtaining all of the licenses and certifications. I know the presenter said that there were, I think, like 6 different certifications that he needed to operate the types of drones that he runs. So we're not at a point where an individual farmer could easily purchase a drone and operate it for this purpose. So for the time being, it would have to be with an individual or a company who's gone through this.
And
process.
final question,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Matt,
Sure.
is with respect to this type of an application, is it cost effective? Is it prohibitive still? How does it compete with their standard ways of cropping?
That's a good question. I don't recall that there was a discussion of the cost comparison. I do remember at one point he said a price per acre. I want to say it was like $10 to $15 per acre, something like that for an application. But I don't have that information specifically.
Thank you.
Yep.
A follow-up to that. What size was the drone? Did they have a smaller one for your demo?
Yeah, this was the smaller of the two that this company operates.
So how
So they
big is
have-
the bigger one?
It had a carrying capacity of up to 100 pounds.
Okay, and how much seed is normally, you said 100 acres is how much poundage? Because drones are getting bigger and bigger. They're up the size of cars now and stuff.
Yeah, again, I don't know that I have a specific, yeah, like the acreage.
Okay, and I
rate-
don't need to
rate
know.
that
I
you could-
just.
that you
was
could
curious.
get with that.
And I could see it would help with fertilizing because you have to have tires to get through the field, so a drone doesn't. But I agree with you. It's not, the plane isn't ready to fly yet, so, yeah.
What I've heard with just discussions on the side with at least one farmer, that it is still more cost
Experimental.
effective for larger fields.
Right.
With helicopters and fixed wing aircraft. So it really depends on the operation.
Well, where the technology's gone drone, you don't really need to have a person involved. You can program it ahead of time and,
Yeah, it's very it's very close to autonomous.
yeah, but it may be a few years off.
Ms. Allen?
Alan, I know that there is always concerned about fertilizer drift. Because if you're anywhere near a population of homes, they get all hot and bothered about it. So I guess a question I have is, do farmers normally put down their fertilizer with tractors? And do they try and put it down like after a rain so it sticks? Or is it usual for us to use helicopters or airplanes these days? And if a drone is able to fly lower and conceivably narrow the territory being covered,
Right.
in a way, that might be a way of calming down some of the
The
stress.
overspray,
The
it could,
overspray, yeah.
yeah.
Do you have any, did they talk about that at all?
They did talk a little bit about seed dispersion with a vehicle. One of the advantages of using aerial dispersion for seeds is that you can actually do seeding before crops are harvested, because when they're dropped from the air, they can drop down between the crops. So you couldn't do that with a tractor if you were, if you still had crops in the field, because you would damage your crops. As far as the fertilizer application, Steve might be able to speak to that a little bit better as far as if tractors are used. But I know that typically it seems like it's commonly with aircraft or fixed wing aircraft or helicopter.
And once again, we turn to our expert.
Well, I would just say that the advent of drones just gives farmers another tool in the toolbox. Like Matt said, when you're talking about cover crops, you can do the same thing with an aerial application with a plane, but you get more precise coverage with a drone, seeding, but it's going to take longer. But whether you're applying fertilizers or crop protection chemicals or seeding, it's just one more application, one more way to get the product delivered to the field at the appropriate time, at the appropriate rate. And I have no doubt that where we're at right now, largely because of federal aviation regulations, no farmer who farms near DuPage Airport is ever going to apply his own chemicals or fertilizer or seed with a drone. But eventually, as these tools become more popular, a drone is a very inexpensive option compared to a planter that might cost $15,000 per row unit. Then a $50,000 drone would look relatively inexpensive, and especially given the versatility it gives you to be able to apply any type of product in almost any type of field conditions. So everything is a trade-off. So for example, if you used as a drone to to seed cover crops a week ago, then yes, you got that seed on the ground while it has an opportunity to germinate and grow while the crop is still growing before the crop is harvested. So you're taking advantage of growing degree days in sunlight. But then if you get a 6-inch rain, how much of the seed is still where you put it? And well, that's the challenge of working with Mother Nature. So.
Any more questions? So I just had a comment. You were talking about the accuracy for the seed and for the fertilizer. There's a safety issue too, right? With these planes. I mean, I just read that these planes can hit each other and they can crash and things like that. So I would think that that's another good tool to put in the toolbox. And they are flying in Burlington and Hampshire. They are flying the yellow planes, distributing the things from the air. So I haven't seen any drones, but I've definitely seen the yellow planes. So did you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit, because I think we are missing the component. So Kat was mainly the one that spearheaded a lot of this, but me and her have been in conversation a lot about cover crops. Cover crops is my background. I spent my master's degree looking at that. And a challenge we see in Northern Illinois is that it's really difficult to plant cover crops, like we've been saying, with the tractor tires and getting in when the corn is ready to harvest. And so that's kind of why we hosted this drone field day, to show farmers that there are options out there, because we don't have drone companies out here. We had to resort to Peoria, and they are considering this a new service area. And so there were some farmers there that were interested in getting some crops drone seeded, and one of the farmers did win on the panel, Matt Klein from Klein's Quality Produce. So he'll have some of his operation covered. But on a really happy note, American Farmland Trust was able to get 3 state representatives there at the field day. So we had Representative Kifowit and her team, Senator Castro, and Senator Ellman. So they were really able to see a lot of the work that we're doing in Kane County for ag.
Thank you. Any more questions? Nope, we're good. One final quick thing. Okay.
Oh, I did, the last thing I wanted, I don't know if Blair can bring the slides back up. Just to share quickly that our consultant, Ellen Camps, has been publishing an article series in Kane County Connects that features the farmers that are participating in the ARPA-funded farmer grant program. So she has, go to the slide real quick. So far she's published 6 articles on, a bunch of our farmers that are participating in the grant program this year. So you can go on Kane County Connects and look up any of these articles and learn more about some of our farmers.
I just wondered if I could float something. Is there any chance we might want to pull those together into a pamphlet? We have the ability to do in-house publishing. Is there any chance that that would be something we would that would have an audience? I'm just wondering if,
Like a print publication?
yeah, like a print publication of these articles in a pamphlet that we could distribute.
It's possible. I think I think nowadays a lot of people are comfortable with electronic media, and that's kind of the easiest way to reach a big audience.
And it's a lot cheaper.
It is cost effective. Yes.
Okay, never mind.
That's
All right. Do we have anything else?
Nope.
No, we're good. This is not my agenda anymore. Hang on. All right. We don't need an executive session. Can I have a motion? Do we have reports to place on file? We do. May I have a motion to place reports on file?
Alan requests unanimous consent to replace our reports on file from this meeting.
Okay. No objections. Great. All right. Motion to adjourn.
Roth will make the motion to adjourn.
Leonard will second.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor?